Well, it's funny, right? When we thought Magnus was winning, and we're like, checkmate, checkmate.
Right,
He only had 20 seconds, so we see at least with 20
right.
seconds like that's where this big blunder from Magnus occurred. So
Yeah.
surviving until that long, maybe that's what he needs to do. But
Well, it's what the people want, I guess. It's a crazy back and forth close match decided by big moves in critical moments. Apparently, Hikaru flexed his fingers after that win, telling himself maybe this match isn't over just yet if he can put together a string of victories. So, back to his old B3 tricks here. Classic Hikaru, classic bullet. 26 minutes left in the 3-minute portion, and everyone, we then move on to the bullet chess portion where there's about as many bullet games played as the other two portions total. So there are still a lot of games left here, a lot of time for the match to go either way.
what's going on here? Okay,
Hikaru is just
Rook
worse out of the opening.
D1
Something bad happened.
looks like it. His only counterplay is his D5 pawn, but this kingside structure does not look healthy. Knight E7 is probably going to be played at some point. Knight F4 for white. Maybe Knight E5. That's a bit more ambitious to play on F3. But then that last game though,
Yeah, that was a fun
Okay,
mind blower.
So he wants to play Knight C7 and probably maybe something like F5. Actually, Black will be ready to play D4 himself instead of allowing White all this pressure on D5. I'm expecting D4 to be played very soon.
Yeah. About
And even if White wins the
34,000
pawn,
of you tuning in right now on all the platforms, Twitch, chess.com TV. Thank you to everyone who's here. And
okay. So
we have a match.
F5, he's preparing to play F5. Maybe I'm wrong about F5. Maybe that allows White to play H4 and get some
Yeah,
squares.
and then all of a sudden the dark squares
Yeah,
are
that's
under
fair. That's
clampage.
fair. Okay, so he's going to keep that as an option. What are we looking at here?
But it's hard because despite the doubled H pawns, the D pawn is such a weakness. I mean, is Black really better?
Maybe 95. What do you do after 95? If King G2 Knight F3, you got to give that up. C4. So somehow Hikaru's come out with quite a playable position, but Magnus might give up this D5 pawn and play 98, 96 if possible. It reminds me of this game he recently, I think, beat Aronian in. But I think the question is White going to take with the knight on D5 or the pawn?
Mm-hmm.
You're not keeping D5
with the knight to keep the D file open, right? But it's less dangerous than a passed D pawn, I guess. But okay, that transition couldn't have been fully anticipated by Magnus because now that he loses his pawn, he's
you can make a move. What, King F1, H4,
yeah,
King G2.
I kind of like H4. Am I bluffing at the idea that maybe my king comes out to the G
for
file?
For me, H4 was to take the pawn on D5 and keep my knight solidified on F4. But this way, he's going to play Rook D4, I guess.
Okay, well the D pawn is extra, but it's also easily blockaded. So real winning chances here, do they exist? I guess if White flips to the C file, there might be something
winning
dangerous.
chances exist, but so do losing chances.
Yeah.
Especially based on what we're seeing.
My old enemy, losing chances, come back to bite me. Yeah, okay.
Like if he's gonna play for a win, he might have to give up something. You know it's bad when you win a pawn and you're still like,
yeah, you're still
you're questioning. Do I really have winning chances?
Frustration's door here. It's yeah, there's nothing White can do. Again, we saw everybody. Hikaru played the rook to the C file, but without any kind of concrete threat against the king. If he loses the D pawn, then he might go on to lose, as Eric said. I mean, because on the king side, the H pawns are doubled and isolated. The F2 pawn's weak. So if White somehow lost this without any compensation, Black would definitely have chances to win. Okay. B4.
B4, that's the move. Trying to create another weakness.
New avenues. He'll take A5 here and maybe try to use.
You could play rook. You could play Rook C4 here, preparing to play Rook C5 while E4 is. But that would just transition to an endgame where it's 4 and 3 on the king side without a good structure. So
the risk of a move like F4, Eric, is they'll and then the H pawns are. Yeah, you don't want to ruin the structure in that way. Okay.
So yeah, this is all forced. We're gonna have a 4 and 3 on the king side, but still with A pawns, which is good for Hikaru.
Yeah,
I think. Gives some
Yeah,
more
the e-pawn
opportunities.
Is there
So
a
the king is cut
king
off.
and
Can
pawn
you?
ending? Almost no.
No. That would. Yeah,
I'm
Black's king
always
is too
excited
close.
about a chance
Well,
to.
rook b4 might be coming. Watch out.
Yeah,
Watch out. This is and the one thing is Hikaru's up on time, which is happening a bit more right now in the 3-2 portion.
right.
That's a good factor.
Okay, the idea,
And rook
everybody, is
b4,
white can't trade now because
rook
the b pawn
b2.
rushes. Yeah,
He's
we
just
might
going to
just
harass.
get
No, this is going to be real tough.
a back and forth. King goes back to f3, guard the pawn. Rook goes back to b4, likely. Magnus is
playing tough, fixing that pawn on h4.
I was going to say,
Rook
Magnus
b4
plays for a win in worse positions more often than anybody, right? He doesn't want to take the draw. He just wants to continue to let the game go and see what happens as both players get under time pressure.
He's done it so many times.
Yep.
It's yielded results. He's very comfortable doing it.
And I think we both kind of laugh there because, like, we just tell ourselves, well, Magnus actually, again, is the one who thinks he's playing for a win despite being down upon a rook ending. He's got the rook in an active position, and he's not just going to repeat with rook b4. Okay, but now if you wait too long, now the king comes into f4 here, right? And there may be infiltration on the g file into the h file. So there's a chance you give up this h3 pawn in some lines. If your king gets really active, you can bring it in.
That's the pawn you want to give up. So
Yeah.
here, what is he? Maybe e5, king e4.
Can you play e5 and go rook d6 in some positions?
He's doing it this way. Maybe not committing the e-pawn, but still getting that check as an opportunity. f6, very timely here.
Yeah, keep
You
the
have rook
king
c6
out.
check, king e7, and then you got to move your rook back to defend a4. So not giving much room for Hikaru.
Yep. Is he going to check on c7 and try to go get the g pawn? Something tells me Hikaru wants to try to win this. Okay. That's a good sign, right? You get the king all the way back, but unfortunately...
He'll move back.
But now he's got e5 because the king's not on e6. Does he?
Sorry, so e5, I take on e5?
And if king e4, I thought maybe there was a... Okay, I guess you're right. There's still no way to come forward without the f3 pawn.
Yeah, f3, then h3, then h4.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, so we're going to see a repetition here, most likely. Rook back to c4.
We're seeing some better chess from Hikaru, but he needs some points desperately. He's playing a bit better than before, and Magnus has, made a few more weaknesses maybe, but still consistently in the game.
Chuck Dwayne,
it takes so much to beat Magnus.
Oh, look at this.
Like
the king's coming into f4. Look at what he's doing.
King f4. Oh,
Why?
Danny, this is incredible.
Ooh, but why did he do that?
He offered a draw because he's going to repeat King f4. But when you're the one who blunders, like when you're up a pawn and you have to offer and beg for a draw, that is a little demoralizing.
Yeah, frustrating, but a peaceful result nonetheless. Shout out to Chuck D. Wayne, who just subscribed on Twitch. Thank you, buddy.